Well, Adam, here we are at the National Stadium. We've sent Pat off. We had Pat Jennings here today doing this wonderful press call with lots of great press people in. Just you and me before the general public come into view. Let's talk about Pat's life and shirts. Here's a little small selection we've put onto various mannequins. So, tell me your favourite shirt. Pick a favourite shirt for me.
Oh God, there's so many. I mean, these few here just remind me of growing up and watching the cup finals in the late 70s. So, you know, 79 Bailey, fantastic shirts. The Alan Sunderland final 3-2, all that stuff. The Liam Brady shirt at the back, I just love that era.
Yeah.
And the Umbro with the bigger, seeing the bigger badge on the Umbro one, and the Admiral, I just love those. That whole era for me. My first kit, one of the Umbro box sets, 78, 79, just with the Umbro diamonds down the sleeves. I just love that. So if I collected anything, I think shirt wise it would be that era. So I love those.
But you know, you're both together. I mean, 78 Umbro FA Cup final match worn shirt. 1 year later, Admiral FA Cup final match worn shirt. Beautiful big embroidered badge, the big Wembley, obviously even a sort of embroidered badge of the trophy as well, sort of thing. So
I love the thought of the extra embroidery on these for the cup finals. And again with the Brussels 1980 on that, seeing that, just something a little bit different. Yeah. And all embroidered still, just no stick-on, iron-on labels.
But Pat was telling us today, obviously, in his press call, that Gary came to him after the final. Can I swap your shirt, sort of thing? So there you go. He ends up with so Gary's got Pat's shirt. I believe it's been sold at auction many years ago, and here's the partner to it that afternoon. So
obviously Pat being a legend, Gary Bailey, I don't know how old Gary Bailey would have been there, but fairly young, you'd have thought. So he sought out Pat to get that shirt. But just again, you know, I keep going back to the work involved and the badges and how that's sewn on. So,
but you know, it's what, 1979, so you know, it's a classic vintage shirt. Its condition's fantastic. You know, Pat's obviously looked after his memorabilia for all these years, and as you mentioned, so there's obviously the Arsenal section here, and to me, like you and I are similar ages, but remember the late 70s cup finals. That shirt, you know, we got the full strip. Yeah. So you know, Liam again, spotting Pat being a legend, decided that he wanted to swap his full kit. So his shirt and shorts were swapped that afternoon. So
perms were in full cry at that point as well.
Absolutely.
Alan Sunderland, and he's permed it in at the far post, isn't he?
Absolutely fantastic.
I'm only jealous.
And here we got, you know, again, Pat was telling us in the press conference today that he roomed with George pretty much all his international career, and 2 shirts that you know, he swapped. We've sort of tracked this one down. As you know, this was you found it online, so tell us about the shirt.
I love a story, and the challenge. It didn't. So Pat mentioned that it was George's worn shirt, but the era so the time he was talking about, we all know from the Umbro badge that it was an earlier shirt, so it just didn't quite add up. So doing a bit of research, finding a few things online, turned out that Northern Ireland played a few practice games before they went out and played the Netherlands. George's big comeback. So this was a kit a few years old that they trained in and played in the games behind closed doors. One at Coventry, I think, and one at Luton.
Yeah. Managed
to find some images in the Getty archives of that game, of that training session, and George and Pat together. And of course, George wearing the number 7. And I think in the game at Coventry, he wore the number 11.
Yeah.
So that all made sense. It all fell into place, and it all makes sense. And of course, still probably only worn once. Still got the Umbro stamp in the corner.
Yeah, all there. I mean, Pat was adamant it was a match worn shirt, and obviously that set us off and set you off onto the trail of it.
Yeah.
And
so he was right,
yeah,
but it wasn't an official game, and then of course the rest is history. You know, how George played in
The 2-2 game, yeah.
and run rings around Cruyff, and interesting to hear another story from a guy that saw the Cruyff shirt at George's house
Right.
that he swapped after the game. Absolutely. So yeah, I love that for the story. It's great when you can work it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, for me, this is my pick. I think, you know, such a rare colour. So 1973, Pat, of course, is at Spurs. It's a Football League Cup final. It's just, you know, I think so far, you know, the catalogue is live now, but the buzz is certainly, I think, obviously the shirts here we've mentioned are all sort of the high end of value in terms of the auction prices. But I think that's going to be one of our certainly top 5 shirts. I think it's just the colour. You know, how often do you see blue, you know, at that sort of period as well?
Blue and red, yeah, the other keeper's colour that you don't see there. Yeah. Everything was green, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, one of Pat's favourites, his first FA Cup final shot, 1967.
Good year, that one. 67.
Fantastic. Yes, that's one of Pat's favourites. He remembers it fondly. His obviously time at Spurs. He spent a long time playing, and of course now he's an ambassador for Spurs as well, sort of thing. So his first cup final shirt, and that's one he picked out today. So, you know, what a trio of shirts, just those 3. They're not even looking at Gary Bailey and his Arsenal stuff there, sort of thing. So not too bad.
Not too shabby so far, is it?
Not too bad so far. Let's go international. Let's move round here. So we've got first 100 and his last appearance. I'll spin back round again, sort of thing. So 1964. As again Pat was telling us, he got the call up. I think Nolan just got beat. Hefty buying England. Harry Gregg was out, and Pat was in, and he was called up. And
but it's interesting because that is basically a sweatshirt.
It is. Well, it's actually the company here. It's obviously not an Umbro. It's SS Moore, who are a Belfast company, and in theory it was a sweatshirt.
So you think they've just gone out and got a coloured sweatshirt?
It's like a badge.
Sign on badge, and you're going, like you say, totally different label.
Yeah, because of course in those days there was no numbers for the keepers. Yeah. There's one number, so in the series that's what it was, that thing. So, but of course Pat wouldn't care less. He's playing for his national side. So,
but that's where the provenance comes in.
Absolutely.
Because without this being part of Pat Jennings' collection, it's just another shirt. You try working out where that's come from,
and you know, absolutely, and then you find out.
So, you know, the interest in that, it just shows you that it can't all be with that perfect label, and you're always improving your knowledge with the label on the back of that.
Yeah,
knowing that, photographing the label, you're always learning.
Yeah, that's, you know, I mean, cases that we had in the last couple of years of shirts that are not is correct. And moving on, 99 appearances later, 100th appearances jump up here, and there's 100th appearance shirts. And again, I love the way on the back here on the label, someone's written 100, just to sort of confirm it is his 100th international appearance. Again, we're probably back to now, obviously Adidas, an own brand, #1 in the back as well. So,
and you know, the manufacturers are making goalkeeper, specifically goalkeeper shirts now. Adidas label, like you say, number, trefoil on that, just like the 86 shirt, how they've come on. I mean, you go back some of these early shirts in their goalkeeper swaps, and they're just jumpers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the evolution of the goalkeeper shirt to that is interesting.
So we've got debut, we've got 100th, and then we've got his last and final appearance, 119 caps against Brazil, 1986 World Cup final, and he wore blue again that afternoon. And 4-1 defeat, but the end of such a fantastic international career, you know, 41 I think he was when he went away, sort of thing. But what a chap.
Yeah. What a legend. I mean, the word's used too often these days, but the guy is just a legend.
Just been, you know, memory as well for all the matches.
You see what he means to the people in Northern Ireland, having been here for a couple of days. Yeah. You know, the amount of people that have come out to see him, and he's royalty, isn't he?
Absolutely.
And rightly so.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I say we spent a day with him, and we just loved his chat, all his football tales, and some we can't broadcast, of course, but some fantastic stories. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is, you know, a story of Pat's career, a few of his international shirts and domestic shirts here. The catalogue is live, BUDDS.com, sale 15th of October.